Move, they're seeing TNC's bans, and so far they're focused around making sure that they don't have hard, strong laners or a laner that's able to hard push. Oh, wow.
What?
Wow, they missed out on their final ban. And okay, as well as locking in the Esmeralda at the same time. What is the hard read here? Are they expecting like a Uranus lock-in for the side of TNC? Are they looking for maybe even a Phoveus lock-in from TNC?
Personally, I feel like, yeah, maybe Phoveus, but even Phoveus as well, they don't really have a lot of mobility here. But I feel like the biggest threat is going to be whether or not they're asking for the carry matchup, because they have 3 very, very tanky heroes from the side of Foxura. And as long as they play it safe coming from TNC Pro Team, bringing this carry isn't too bad, because any frontline that comes in, he is going to shred through both the Esmeralda, Barats, as well as the chips. But no, they don't go for it. They go for the mobility. Cloud is going to be the way to go. Tamus to out-sustain this. And I was asking whether or not if TNC Pro Team is going to pick up a hero to buy time in case the shortcut comes in, you know, buy enough time for the Loy's divergence to come in to provide a little bit of assistance here. I think Tamus is great for this kind of scenarios, but again, that's going to be playing on the XP lane, so...
I think it's fine. No, it's fine, because they're going to be leaving their gold lane pretty much to kind of do what gold lanes do, which is be left on an island here, and the EXP lanes are going to be like hard fighting for level 4. Generally, we expect Amos to be able to dominate that matchup, and I think this makes it really awkward for Foxura unless they plan on putting that Esmeralda in the gold lane. We see Vexana to have a guaranteed way to hard shove mid, and then look to kind of spill that lead into the side lanes, and maybe that just might make the difference here. Looks like William's going to be the one playing on this Esmeralda, so it's going to be Esmeralda in the EXP Barats as your dedicated jungler.
Personally, I like Foxura's draft a little bit better, just because of how much value this Vexana is going to be bringing to the table. Not because I'm biased from Malaysia, but personally, I feel like this draft has so much work creep. Like one Eternal Guardian drops in here. It takes out so much from TNC Pro Team. Just deal with it, and I feel like TNC Pro Team has the more difficult draft to actually pull this off.
Well, I think that overall, I feel like it's minimum, like at a minimum, we're expecting TNC Pro Team. We don't expect the greatest of final slashes, but at the very least, just use it for general causes. If they're chasing down our marksman, we're able to kind of buy a little bit of extra time, make sure that Thamos does take vengeance just to buy that extra time when the shortcut comes through, and when you're getting ganked by the Y-Walk. So I think that chip is going to be their biggest problem for the side of TNC. As long as they're able to kind of match that aggression and cover the portals, it should be a good time.
Yep, this is going to be something that I'm extremely excited here, because it all comes down to execution here. Without further ado, we are going to be jumping straight into game right now. The first SPS match here from the Open Finals. This is going to be TNC Pro Team going up against Foxura from Malaysia. And both teams going to be starting on the purple buff for now. It is going to be the Barats versus the Fredrin in the jungle matchup.
Let's see how this ends up playing out for both Ryzen and as well as Dust, because this is going to be interesting, right? We're expecting to see where these leads are going to lean into. Maybe it could be, you know, William trying to use his advantage in lane with the Inspire to chunk out Nomad early on. I don't expect that to happen though, but it's kind of up to Foxura to figure out how exactly are they going to punish Siti Nosana.
Yeah, that's something Wait, Siti Norsana? Oh yeah, Siti Norsana is going to be playing here. And I agree with you, right? Like, the weakest link here coming from Foxura is going to be Siti Norsana. And he needs at least 2 to 3 items before he goes, is able to kind of evenly match up against Tamos. But against TNC Pro Team, it looks like they're not focusing on that. Whereas Fox is just going to be playing the defensive side. They are going to try and invade the top side instead of the gold lane here.
Yep, no, this is totally fine. I'm okay with this movement coming in from both TNC and as well as Foxura. TNC responding correctly, right? Like heads, he's trying to make sure he gives that vision, but at the same time, he should be dying here.
Oh boy.
Vengeance popped, yep, instantly dead. He's got to be careful, right? Because most EXP laners do usually run the Flicker. So having that Vengeance pre-level 4 is extremely dangerous when you're up against someone like Barats who doesn't really let you go.
Yeah, very, very smart opening here coming from Foxura. No response coming from TNC Pro Team. And at the same time as well, with the Barats now having a very, very early lead here, they are going to continue with the Storm here. Siti Norsana very close to the 4. Almost gets a decent amount of gold platings for now. And the Turtle coming in as well. However, this is going to put them in a very awkward spot because Foxura doesn't have the ultimate up on the Foxura first, but it doesn't matter. Bad things is taking a little bit too much damage. City's Roxana misses the ultimate for now. Turtle contest coming in. Seems like Foxura still has a little bit of advantage here. Does still holding on to the Daytona's welcome, but he actually doesn't have it right now. He's going to be chipped away. He's going to try and go for the retribution available here. Drops the Eternal Guardian, rises, secures it. He needs to get out right now. Does goes for the Daytona's welcome a little bit too late. He will trade 1-for-1 for now. The hits for a jungle. Ryzen still a little bit of an awkward spot, but somehow gets out to safety. Wait, how did he manage to...
He uses the divergence in the middle of battle to keep it really, really interesting so that Ryzen has a reason to stick around and stand right on top of it. So he can minimize his damage by using the energy eruption, stun and taunt his targets for a good amount of time before disappearing into the void.
You know, it's so weird because it looked like Ryzen was doing a flicker, but actually it was just the divergent, right? So I was like, wait, since when a jungler has a flicker? And I was like, oh wow, they used it in a very, very small scale, which actually keeps things interesting. Instead of getting out completely, they want to kind of apply pressure to kind of keep things going in case they want to turn things around. So very, very interesting usage of the divergent coming from TMC Pro Team.
Yeah, but still, the advantage is leaning in towards Foxura. They're currently a kill up. The gold is falling into the hands of TNC Pro Team. They're hitting their power spikes, and most importantly, keep in mind that Foxura is very ult dependent, right? As soon as their ults are down, the only damage over time, consistent damage dealers they have is City Norsana and as well as William. Everybody else is a little bit more burst oriented, like Maelstrom or even Tenka, who's dependent on their ultimates to make the move.
I think that's the mistake that Foxura had in the previous match, right? Like, they used up so much of the ultimates right in the top 40 XP lane and gotten no value. And during the turtle contest, they're just not available here. But bottom lane here, they find an opening. They manage to pick up Will.i.am. And in this case, Foxura not getting the tempo that they needed to play around this chips. And so far, TNC Pro Team is just able to just outmatch this chips rotation so far.
Will.i.am still haven't seen him actually earn a Grammy after quite some time after his Black Eyed Peas, but now he's playing Mobile Legends, right? After looking at the emblems, I think it kind of makes sense where they're currently at. City Norsana opting to go for the support emblems here, just to make sure that they can survive a little bit longer in lane. But the common emblems from Maelstrom just shows that he wants to maintain control over the mid lane without having to recall as often as some other mid laners. If not, he's probably going to be rushing things like Enchanted Talisman first item, just to make sure that he survives.
Well, seems like, speaking of fight here, he needs a little bit of help here. Tenka going for the back lines, they're for dropping a shortcut as well. Hatred, and manages to get out. However, they do call in the entire team. Maelstrom getting completely zoned out. They find Nomad on the side, so that's huge coming from Foxura. But again, the TNC Pro Team, they're still trying to reset this fight. They don't really know what's the angle to work with as well. Thus, still holding on to Daytona's welcome, getting torn out. Finally, Gobbles on the Frederick. They are going to try and blow him up. Turtle contest comes in. Ryzen, does he secure it? No. Thus, still takes the cake here. He is going to get out to safety while TNC Pro Team only loses the turtle fight. Surprisingly, considering how low they are, Ryzen still getting hold on and pinned in by City Roxana. The rest of Foxura not part of the engages, and I'm surprised that TNC Pro Team, they were able to get out with only losing Nomad before the turtle contest.
I think this one's a little tough, right? Everybody was kind of split on what the decision was supposed to be. In the meantime, William not going to waste any time. He was zoned out from the fight eventually, just went straight to the top side of the map to ensure that he gets a tier 1 with or without that turtle, right? It's a 50-50 and a risk that they have to take. But so far, Heads has been taking a significant amount of punishment. We're seeing that City Norsana is quickly outscaling him at the same time. And surprisingly enough, opting to go for the lethal ignition first item, Starlium Scythe, so he's building damage.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at the fact that Foxura, despite them technically supposedly winning the early phase of the game here, it's only a 900 gold lead. So this is actually pretty good for TNC Pro Team because over time, they will kind of match and outscale the Barats if they can make it to his level 15. Because as of yet, this Barats is only 1, 1, and 2. It's not super crazy. Ryzen is doing a fantastic job matching his level so far. But again, are they getting objectives? Because right now, Foxura, they want to get as many map pressure for themselves. But for TMC Pro Team, all they gotta do is just stall.
Yeah, I mean, generally TNC Pro Team wants to stall until they have like Trinity build done on William, 2 items completed for Hatred, Ryzen probably at 3. Heads has a lot of catching up to do, but his main goal is to be a thick tank in the front line, so they have to play around his Vengeance and his ult more than anything else, rather than his power spikes.
Bottom lane there, seems like they have their own shortcut coming from TNC Pro team, they were able to get the drop with the divergent picks of City Rosana, so that's huge. And again, Fox, technically, supposedly to play around Tenka, it's not working out for them right now.
I mean, so far for Fox, they just have to be hyper aware, right? That's why Lo Yi is particularly annoying to deal with, because you don't really know where she's going to TP the rest of the team, right? Whether it's in your flank, whether it's in a bush, it's kind of difficult to tell. But here we go. Once again, Turtle Dance.
Oh, they're setting up for Bendings, going for the final stage, but seems like Tenka just completely blurred it out before he can actually drop anything here. Turtle Contest in the hands of TNC Pro team here. Fox, they lose one for absolutely nothing here. They trade the tier 1 up top, but that's all. The spear comes in, doesn't connect. TNC Pro team still having very, very strong map control somehow.
Yeah, I mean, Foxura is just making some good decisions, making sure that at least with the Moskov, he doesn't necessarily have to be there, right? Tenka is able to TP him in. He's able to land the ultimate spear just to make sure that he can like TP somewhere, but he has to communicate, right? So at the end of the day, they still get a tier 2. They did lose the objective, but that's kind of whatever at this point, right? For TNC, this is where you expect them to start getting really, really strong. Like Ryzen, he's been power farming this entire time. He's already got the Athena shield. He's about to finish his anti-cuirass as well. If you look on over, even for Dusk, right? First item, Blade Armor. He is genuinely worried about Nomad in the later stages of the game, who currently is our top gold earner.
Yeah, they definitely have to worry about this for sure. But as of now, top side, they get 2 tier 1s and tier 2, so that's huge for Foxura. But again, TNC Pro team still has the middle turret in the middle side, so it doesn't really translate much for Foxura. But once they take this tier 1 on them in the middle in their hands, it is going to be opening up a lot of space for Foxura. So TNC Pro team, they have to be hyper aware on how they want to take this next approach.
I think it's okay, right? Because TNC have said, okay, we've sacrificed tier 1 and tier 2 on the...
Oh, City Rosana getting chain stun, no backup whatsoever. Tenka a little bit late here, brings in the shortcut. They are going to try and force this fight here. It's going to be 5v3, but at the same time, they're so tanky. They're buying time. They're able to trade one, but the health, they're dropping so quickly. What? They're able to turn the tides. Well, they lose the lives of Hatred, but at the same time, Nomad joins the fight, and Fox, they take too long. They get completely butchered. Oh my goodness, what a setup from Hatred.
Oh man, Hatred really popped off in damage. Everybody was getting hit by the yin-yang reaction time and time again. You just cannot clump against this Lo Yi, and especially since CNC Pro just staggered the initial engagement. And we saw that Hatred, he moved back. He was like, you know what? I don't want to be part of this. Wait a minute, the rest of my team is coming in. We can make something happen. He turns around, even is willing to absorb and die for that fight to allow the rest of TNC Pro team to clean it up.
That is insane here. Seeing how this instant replay here, I feel like City Rosana, like, him getting picked off here was a very, very sad moment for Fox, but for Hatred to get like 4 to 5 man yin-yang reactions here and buy so much time, allowing TNC to just walk up and say, hey, wait, they're all so low. Maybe you can just wipe them, and they did. There's just nothing they can do about this.
I mean, Hatred sacrificed his life specifically for their jungler, Ryzen, right? And then Ryzen ends up going back into the fight to make an impact. So at the end of the day, TNC just making smarter decisions here, right? I think, wait, conceal?
Oh no, here comes the playing swing to Nomad. He's taking a little bit too low here. He almost survives here. And William actually getting picked off from the sides by Hatred as well as Bending. TNC Pro team somehow gets 2-man Horizon! Appraisal's draft drop. Mega kill for the Arlon, and now Foxura, they're just crumbling to pieces. Now another catch coming from Bending's head. Takes City Norsana, and only Malestra is left alive, and TNC Pro team finally on the driver's seat.
They hit their item power spikes, right? This is what we were waiting for the entire time. We were waiting for Heads to catch back up, which he's still kind of doing, but he's caught back up closer to where Dusk is right now compared to everybody else. I have to compare him to City Norsana. No, City Norsana, one of the top earners right now for the side of Foxura. But what a bad time to actually take a fight. The Lord was already pushing in.
Yeah, this is terrible coming from Foxura. Like, technically, they shouldn't be losing City Rosana that quickly as well, and this is what we're talking about as well. City Rosana needs a lot of time to actually come online, and currently him being the first and out equation here completely diminishes on what Esmeralda can do in split fights. And for them to group up as 3 is weird. Like, they shouldn't be grouping up most of the time for Foxura.
I mean, to be fair, I'll say that City Norsana is going for a full magic build, right? He's top of the damage in leaderboard right now, 8,000 ahead of Hatred as of right now, despite Hatred having like an insane fight just now, hitting 4 or 5 people with yin-yang reactions. So keep in mind, City Norsana, he is playing for a full damage build. He currently has the Blood Wings and a Calamity Reaper instead of a Starly Scythe. He wants to hurt.
Not a big fan of this build, but we shall see. Like, as of yet, City Norsana should be pressuring the back lines on his own rather than clumping up as 5. But TNC Pro Team, they realize this. They're like, okay, it's okay. I've got Ryzen. I can catch up from 4. I can buy time. And if Hatred gets to do his job, that's the dream play for TNC Pro Team. And what a way to start the game.
Yeah, I think that Foxura is currently in a dilemma, right? How do we approach this fight with TNC Pro Team? If we take it front to front, then Hatred's going to be a little bit of a problem if we're closer to a choke point. If we try to get into the backline, then our backliners are basically uncovered, right? And they can't deal with Ryzen heads or even bent things by themselves. They need some form of peel, which is what Dusk's job is currently at, right? So that's why he's balancing very carefully where he's standing. They've already lost City Norsana, and that's what we should expect. TNC Pro Team's just making smarter decisions, and more importantly so, stopping the split push before it even starts.
You know what's really sick about this is that I think Observer was just confused. Like, how did this 4 players disappear out of nowhere? Like, Hatred's senses with this Divergent has been so spot on, and every single time he uses Divergent, he drops onto either City Norsana or William and just one-shots them.
Here we go.
Instantly drops, goes
He's
in,
dead.
they fight. Oh no, what? How did they know? It's like, how?
I mean, they saw him take the tier 1 Taran down on bot side, right? And he didn't have enough time to recall. There's a specific amount of time before the recall animation goes off, so they're probably just counting down as soon as he walks inside that bush, and they instantly punish him. That's why you see Nomad quickly using the BMI to close the distance, to cancel it as soon as possible with the Art of Thievery. And once again, with this Luminous Lore crashing onto the top side, they're almost guaranteed to lose an inhibitor.
Oh boy, TNC Pro Team just a little bit more aware. Final Slash comes in, they get the Dream and Taunt as well. Yin Yang comes in, Tekka gets out, but it's only a chip because right now he's got no tankiness, he's got no damage. Lord in your face, tier 3s will be exposed as well from TNC Pro Team. 3v5, they still have Hatred still exposed to this. They want them to group about, but guess what? If they're not grouping up, we're taking the Crystal and we're taking game 1, and this is TNC Pro Team playing at their best for SPS.
Really nice things coming out from Ben Things and as well as Hatred. Really turning some of these fights around single-handedly with some strong abilities, and most importantly, that final slash to clump them up. A nasty combo between the Loyi as well as this Arlet. Something to keep in mind for the upcoming game. Foxura, good early movement, but unfortunately did not know how to manage and guide themselves through a solid winning pathway during the mid to late game.
You know, this Loyi is just a big threat for Foxura. Technically, they should be winning the early game here, but TNC Pro Team was able to find opportunities and deny them those existence. And that opening wombo combo up top, the dream perfect combo for Hatred, is what set them